All right, everybody, welcome in on this Sunday, February 8th, because I need to walk you through what is shaping up to be one of the most extreme two-week weather stretches the United States has experienced all winter. What we are dealing with right now and what is coming over the next 12 days is not just one story. It is a chain reaction of clashing air masses, dramatic temperature reversals, and storm signals that are going to affect virtually every corner of the country. Right now, as I speak, a life-threatening Arctic blast has the eastern half of the nation in a stranglehold. Wind chills are plummeting to 30 and 40 degrees below zero across parts of the Northeast. Record low temperatures are either being tied or shattered across the mid-Atlantic today, and roughly 50 cold records could fall before this weekend is over. But here is what makes this so extraordinary. While the East shivers through some of the coldest air in years, parts of the western and central United States are running 40 degrees above normal. Great Falls, Montana just posted 5 straight days above 60 degrees in February, shattering records. Los Angeles hit 88 degrees this past week, which is hotter than their typical July and August highs. The jet stream is contorted in a way we rarely see this dramatically, and when it finally corrects itself over the next 2 weeks, the collision between these two wildly different air masses is going to produce storms, severe weather, heavy snow, and temperature swings that will keep every meteorologist in the country glued to the models. Let me break down exactly what is coming, day by day, region by region, city by city, from now through February 20th. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. Phase 1. The Arctic Siege. February 8th through 10. Today, Sunday, February 8th, is the coldest morning of this entire Arctic outbreak for much of the Northeast. The polar vortex has been doing what climate scientists call a stretching and splitting pattern, sending lobe after lobe of frigid air directly into the eastern United States. This is not a quick-hit cold snap. The eastern half of the country has been gripped by Arctic conditions for nearly 3 weeks now, and this weekend represents the exclamation point. Northeast. This morning, wind chills in upstate New York, northern Vermont, and northern New Hampshire are approaching 40 degrees below zero. Frostbite can occur in under 15 minutes. Boston is in the low teens with wind chills -20 to -25. New York City has not reached freezing for 9 out of 12 days this month, struggling into the upper teens today with wind chills near -15. Philadelphia is in the mid-teens. Hartford sits in the single digits. Buffalo, buried under fresh snow, is in the low teens with wind chills near -25. Mid-Atlantic. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore are looking at highs around 18 to 20 degrees, roughly 20 to 30 degrees below normal with record lows possible. Richmond is in the low 20s. Midwest and Ohio Valley. Chicago is in the low teens. Detroit, Cleveland, and Columbus are stuck in the teens. Indianapolis tops out around 20. Minneapolis is already feeling the leading edge of the warm-up, sitting well warmer than cities 1,000 miles to its east. Southeast. Atlanta is in the mid-30s, Charlotte around 30, Nashville in the upper 20s, Jacksonville in the 40s, Tampa and Orlando in the upper 40s to low 50s. Snowfall from the Clipper. Western North Carolina along the Tennessee line saw 8 to 12 inches with isolated spots near 16 inches in Swain, Haywood, Madison, Mitchell, and Avery counties. Buffalo picked up 6 inches. Pittsburgh and Erie saw 3 to 6. The Ohio Valley received 2 to 5 inches. West Virginia's higher elevations exceeded a foot in places. The good news is that by Monday the 9th, the cold begins loosening its grip. Temperatures start moderating back toward normal across the central states first, and by Tuesday, even the Northeast begins a slow climb out of the deep freeze. But what replaces this cold is where the real drama begins. Phase 2. The Great Thaw. February 10th through 13. Starting Tuesday the 10th, a massive ridge of high pressure builds across the central and southern United States, and warm air floods northward. The Climate Prediction Center has painted the vast majority of the lower 48 under the above normal category for the 6 to 10-day outlook, with much above normal conditions from Dallas and Houston all the way up to Sioux Falls and Minneapolis. This is going to feel like a completely different season compared to what the East is enduring right now. Central Plains and Midwest. Des Moines could reach 70 degrees on Monday with a normal high of just 32. Omaha, Lincoln, and Sioux Falls push into the mid to upper 60s. Kansas City flirts with 70. Minneapolis surges into the 50s. Chicago and Detroit warm into the upper 40s by midweek. Indianapolis and Columbus reach the low 50s. South and Southeast, Dallas and Houston hit the mid to upper 70s with North Texas touching the low 80s. Oklahoma City and Tulsa reach the upper 60s. Atlanta climbs into the mid 60s. Nashville pushes into the mid 60s. Charlotte warms into the upper 50s. Birmingham approaches 70. Jacksonville and Orlando cruise into the mid 70s. Savannah and Charleston reach the low 70s. Northeast. The thaw is slower here. New York City and Philadelphia climb into the mid-40s by Wednesday. Boston reaches the upper 30s. Washington, D.C. gets into the low 50s. After wind chills of -20, even 40 degrees feels like salvation. West Coast. A significant trough drops into the Pacific Northwest, bringing heavy rain to Portland and Seattle through midweek. The Cascades are looking at 2 to 3 feet of snow. The Sierra Nevada picks up the action Tuesday through Wednesday with a high risk for heavy snow and 1 to 2 feet possible. Sacramento sees 1 to 3 inches of rain. This is welcome news for drought-stricken western snowpack. Phase 3. The Pattern Correction and Storm Signals, February 13th through 20. This is the phase that has every meteorologist watching carefully. When the atmosphere swings this far above normal in the middle of winter, it inevitably tries to correct itself. Winter does not just step aside quietly. Cold air comes crashing back, and the collision zone between the retreating warmth and advancing cold is where major storms develop. Both the European and GFS models have been consistently flagging storm signals for the Valentine's Day period and beyond. By late Friday the 13th into Saturday the 14th, a significant upper-level trough dives out of the west and interacts with the warm, unstable air mass across the southern and central states. A surface low-pressure system is expected to develop over the southern plains and track northeast. The exact track and intensity of this low will determine everything about who gets what. Severe weather threat, February 13th through 15. The European model consistently shows a potent low forming near Alabama or Mississippi on Friday evening. On the south side, where warm Gulf air collides with cold air from the northwest, the severe weather potential is real. Southern Mississippi, Louisiana, southern Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and southern Georgia are in the highest risk zone. Mobile, Pensacola, Biloxi, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Birmingham southward should be watching. Primary threats are damaging winds with isolated tornadoes possible. Atlanta gets into storm activity as the system tracks east. Wintry mix and snow, February 13th through 15. On the north side of this storm, accumulating and possibly heavy snowfall is possible on the backside of the developing surface low. Ensembles show 20 to 30% chances for snowfall exceeding 4 inches across portions of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis, and Columbus need to be watching. Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, and Kentucky are in the zone for mixed precipitation. Western storms, February 15th through 17. An amplifying trough digs into the West Coast around Valentine's Day weekend. The Weather Prediction Center has issued a moderate risk of high winds for the Four Corners and southern high plains tied to Lee cyclogenesis, with an expansive low-pressure system expected over the high plains by the 16th. The Sierra Nevada faces a high risk of heavy snow with potentially massive totals. Coastal California and southwestern Oregon face a moderate risk for heavy precipitation. Cold air return and second storm, February 16th through 20. A stratospheric warming event is destabilizing the polar vortex, and this disruption is expected to reconnect with surface weather by late February. Both models show another powerful storm system developing. The European places a major low across the upper Midwest with classic blizzard potential track. The GFS displaces it slightly north, but both agree on an active pattern with accumulating snow likely across the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and potentially the Northeast. Both models also indicate a 4 to 5 day thunderstorm event across the Deep South from roughly the 17th through 21st. Cities from New Orleans through Birmingham, Atlanta, Nashville, and into the Carolinas should prepare for multiple rounds of storms with some severe potential. Snowfall summary by region, February 8th through 20. Northeast, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, 6 to 14 inches from combined events. Massachusetts, Connecticut, 3 to 8 inches. New York City Metro, 2 to 4 inches. Buffalo and upstate New York, 8 to 16 inches with lake enhancement. Mid-Atlantic, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., 2 to 5 inches with additional potential from the Valentine's Day storm. Pittsburgh, 4 to 8 inches. West Virginia Mountains, 6 to 12 plus inches. Midwest and Great Lakes, Chicago, 3 to 6 inches. Detroit and Cleveland, 4 to 8 inches. Minneapolis, 2 to 5 inches with the biggest signal around the 16th through 18th. Indianapolis and Columbus, 3 to 6 inches. Southeast, western North Carolina mountains, already 8 to 12 on the ground with more chances later. Atlanta, Charlotte, Nashville, Birmingham, mainly rain with marginal wintry mix chances. Western mountains, Sierra Nevada, 2 to 4 feet from the Valentine's Day storm alone. Cascades, 2 to 3 feet. Northern Rockies, 1 to 2 feet. The big picture. The polar vortex has been disrupted by stratospheric warming, sending repeated Arctic lobes into the east while the west bakes under ridging. That pattern is breaking down, and the transition will produce storms, severe weather, and heavy snow as the atmosphere seeks equilibrium. Both major models are in unusually strong agreement, which gives me confidence we are heading into an extremely active stretch. Key dates: February 10th through 11th for the warm-up. February 13th through 15th for the Valentine's Day storm complex. February 16th through 20th for the next major system. Winter is far from finished. I will be tracking every model run. Stay safe, enjoy the warmth when it arrives, and get ready because the pattern ahead is loaded. We will talk again very soon.